Don't fake it. Just take it. There you go. Okay. Maybe that's a new line. Maybe that's All Elite Wrestling. Don't fake it. Just take it. Tony Khan, you want that slogan? You can have it. Just contact me about it, yeah? It does seem like WWE has real competition for the first time in a generation, maybe even 2 or 3. WWE has a competitor in wrestling. They're called, if you don't know, AEW. I just said it like that just for the fun of it. Just sounds a bit more wrestling, you know? All Elite Wrestling, it was founded by one of my favorite wrestlers of this current generation, and that's Cody Rhodes. I think he was completely underserved in WWE. I think he's one of the most talented wrestlers that have been around in the past 15 years. I do think he was very underappreciated by the mass mainstream, and now I'm glad he's getting relevance in a different way. All Elite Wrestling, as I said, competitors, they just had their second pay-per-view event called Double or Nothing, sold out a bloody, I think it was the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Pretty decent show. It was the second one after All In, which was a couple months ago. I'm glad that they're not deciding to do pay-per-views every month or every 6 weeks. There's a good time between. It makes them feel special, and while it's not a televised product as of yet, and they don't have a weekly show, I think that's the route they're going to take with it. But from the way that they've described the pay-per-views, they're going to go more extreme specifically on the pay-per-views. So there'll be something for you to tune into because they'll have less regulations to stand by. They won't have to not include blood, because there was one bloody as hell match in this pay-per-view. It was a bit ridiculous. And I'm not good with blood. I'm really not. So I was turning away a bit. It was just a bit too much. But you know it was real blood. And that's like, you don't really see that very often. And while there were definitely problems with the pay-per-view, I mean, the pre-show was pretty bad. I didn't like the Royal Rumble type thing they did. The actual rest of the show was really, really good. I mean, Alpha vs Omega, and that was amazing. Like, it was such a well put together match. And then Dean Ambrose just appearing out of nowhere and just shocking everyone. I think I really feel that it was a surprise for 99% of people. No one had any idea that he would actually be signed and be at this show at this time. So I think that it really did light up the crowd so much seeing... Bloody hell, you know, he's actually a mad guy. Dean Ambrose, I don't know his real name, honestly. This is what I mean. I follow wrestling, I enjoy wrestling, but recently I just haven't really watched it very much. I think the WWE product has got particularly bad. And since, I guess, Ronda Rousey came in, I just turned off from it. Very rarely clip it on. I think they have a lot of good talent in WWE, though. You know, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns, but, you know, he is a very talented guy in that spot. I think Becky Lynch is incredible, and Bayley's good. So they have a lot of good people there. Braun Strowman, he's a big guy. But I just feel they mismanage their shit so much, and the storylines in WWE just completely shut people off. They just log off from it. And, I mean, me saying this, I think I could write better storylines. Really. I don't know if that's saying a lot or nothing at all, but that's definitely not good if I can write a better storyline than what paid people have been able to put together for $1 billion industry. Not really bueno, not really the best, but back to All Elite Wrestling. This pay-per-view was so precisely put together. I mean, my favorite match, the Dusty and Cody match was WrestleMania worthy. It really had a lot of emotion in it. It had a lot of feels. And I think everyone walked out of that arena being like, we just watched something historic for the wrestling business. It really was something very, very visceral and real. At the same time, my favorite, or probably second favorite match was the women's tag match. The one between all the international wrestlers from, I guess, Japan. A lot of them were Japanese. I don't know any of their names. One of them was called Reno, I think, or Rio. I don't know. But it was so well done. The other female match was absolute garbage, but that one was particularly good. And I was watching it like, wow. Wow, I guess women's wrestling really has come along internationally, not just in WWE, where Becky Lynch is one of the faces of the company and is actually doing a good job. I just think that she's been served utter crap, and she's not able to really fulfill what she's trying to do. She's sort of becoming like a female Stone Cold, and I think she needs to become herself rather than become a female version of someone else. But besides WWE's problems, which is All Elite Wrestling itself. I mean, All Elite Wrestling, you know, you need someone to I don't know, do whatever. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know. But what I'm saying is I'd do something. I think that it's so cool seeing basically the brand versus the startup. Even though it's a startup with a billionaire investor, all right? But it's like the big guy, the corporation versus the man-made little... It's like it's being put together just to try and make something whole. And that's what AEW seems like. And actually produce a product at the end of it. And if All In and Double or Nothing are anything to go by, they're actually succeeding in it. Whether it can be sustained, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of production work that goes into these shows. And on a weekly basis, or even if it's a bi-weekly basis, I don't know how they will be able to compete with WWE, considering, you know, viewership numbers are down and down and down every single year with televised wrestling. And I guess the WWE, Vince McMahon, did something way before anyone else did with $9.99 a month for the WWE network. Before anyone started to do streaming other than Netflix, he was on it like, we should probably do this. We should get anyone we can hooked onto it. So they need to have it. We'll give all the pay-per-views free. Because if you want to buy a pay-per-view, it's like £30-40 in the UK. Whereas, or £30, depending on the pay-per-view. Whereas you buy bloody the WWE network and you get it all for free. I personally have neither. But that's just me, you know? You watch it in alternative ways sometimes. I just watch highlights for WWE. I never watch full shows. Yeah, that's where it's gone. That's where it's gone. But great show from All Elite Wrestling. And then Jack Whitehall was there. I saw him on some of the promo stuff. I didn't know he was such a big wrestling guy. I like him more now. I sort of liked him and then I didn't like him very much. But man, I like you. You're a chill guy. I like you a lot. I mean, I like your dad probably more than you. So I think I honestly feel that's most people. It's like Boris Johnson and his dad. Most people are like, oh, Stanley's a lad. Yeah, everyone loves Stanley Johnson. But now people like but Boris Johnson is a bit divisive. But Stanley, everyone loves him. Just like your dad. Everyone loves him. Everyone's like, yeah, Jack Whitehall's cool, but his dad, he's the one. But yeah, it's cool seeing familiar faces. I think it's a good thing they decided to put him as like an announcer and that type of stuff, because it just brought maybe an alternative audience, even if it was a couple of hundred people, to something that they'd never seen before. And the performances were just to get back to it, the performances were freaking amazing. All right, seeing some of the stuff they did, I thought one Booker broke his neck at one point. I was watching it like, hang on, how is this guy not dead? This guy choked this guy who looked like a dinosaur. Or he had this weird mat. I don't know what type of mask he had on. He chokeslammed this guy on his head into a table. He looked like he'd been killed. Honestly, you don't see this shit in WWE. I mean, Money in the Bank was pretty crazy. A couple of them, especially the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, Mustafa Ali got completely shafted at the end there with Lesnar. And I feel that's the problem with WWE. They keep on going back. They keep on going back to things which have happened in the past. Like, let's bring Brock Lesnar back in. He didn't need that. If you'd just given it to anyone else, I think Ali was the guy billed to potentially win it before McMahon was like, no, it's Lesnar. It just adds a different flavor to the whole thing. I think Jinder Mahal was not the best WWE champion. I don't think he's the best wrestler. But I think Mustafa Ali is. I think he's actually pretty good, especially for his size. You know, you can't get away from it. He's a tiny guy. If he is in a ring with Brock Lesnar, there's no chance anyone is believing that he's winning. He's so scrawny. I mean, Daniel Bryan is scrawny. And he had that weird fight with Lesnar where you didn't believe he could win, but you believed he might be able to shaft Lesnar out of a win. I just can't see that with Ali. I can't imagine that happening. So I feel that Lesnar's going to win the Universal Championship. He's going to lose it, and then Ali's going to beat someone else, because I don't think Brock's going to have anyone smaller than bloody Dave Bautista beating him like that. I think Brock has a certain ego. It's fine. It's who he is, but he's not going to have a tiny guy beating him. I really doubt it. I mean, Rollins is... Maybe it's got... A Rollins-Ali match could be cool. I do think that could be quite interesting and entertaining. So if they go down that route with it, who knows? Maybe some people will decide to click on the show again. This may be weird, but I do feel if AEW had done one more thing with Double or Nothing, it would have got a huge pop. Giant pop. Huge, ginormous pop. Even if it was just a backstage segment. If R-Truth had just come out of nowhere and said something like, is Lil Jimmy here? Or or something along the lines of oh, wrong building, or oh, wrong show. Like, imagine the pop it would have got from the crowd. They would have gone absolutely nuts. I think he's also I think he's a great performer. I don't think he gets enough respect. But I think it would have been so big. AEW, try and get R-Truth. He might be in his 40s, but man, he is a crowd pleaser. And as I said, Cody Rhodes, I mean, I know you can only use Cody now, but Cody Rhodes, he's one of the best performers of this generation. And the fact he was never WWE champion or a top tier champion is beyond me. How Vince never saw that was a good idea. Mr. McMahon, let's be respectful here. Yeah, I honestly don't get that decision making or that thought process. He had so many good storylines there. But he's taking it over here. The Young Bucks also just freaking kill it every single time. It's such a fun group of people, and they seem to actually en masse get along with each other pretty well. And that type of camaraderie really shows in the matches sometimes, because they will have a good match with each other regardless of, you know, where it is, when it is, who the audience is. They will just put everything on the line, and you don't see that in wrestling. I mean, you don't see it in mainstream WWE anymore. I mean, I watched the Kofi Kingston match. I think Kofi Kingston is incredible. I love him so much. I'm glad that he's actually been able to become world champion at this point, so he doesn't follow the route of Cody Rhodes. But I was watching a world championship match of his, the WWE championship match of his at a pay-per-view, I think. And the match was so botched. There were so many problems with it. And I know that I'm older now, and I can see the issues with how they're taking shots and stuff. Also, I've done like some very basic stunt training, so I understand when someone's, you know, not selling something right. But, you know, these are the best performers in the world. And the amount of problems in each Raw and each SmackDown is absolutely shoddy. It's really, really, really bad. And sometimes I just pause the video, and I just think, why didn't it just take the shot then? Like, sometimes it's so bad. It's so bad sometimes. I'm just like, I would just personally take the shot. If it's gonna look this bad, don't fake it. Just take it. There you go. Okay. Maybe that's a new line. Maybe that's All Elite Wrestling. Don't fake it. Just take it. Tony Khan, you want that slogan? You can have it. Just contact me about it, yeah? Don't fake it. Just take it. That should be that should definitely... Why isn't that someone's slogan? That should definitely be someone's slogan in wrestling. It just fits. Wow. Don't fake it. Just take it. Yeah. All Elite Wrestling, very fun pay-per-view. The best one I've seen in a while, at least. I haven't really liked a lot of WWE pay-per-views. I don't watch any other wrestling promotion. I watch some New Japan stuff very rarely. Only if there's someone out there that I'm aware of, then I'll watch it. But hey, I'm glad that there's some competition for WWE. Competition only breeds better performers. And because of that, I mean, this could be a very fun time in wrestling. Both for the wrestlers, they get paid the dollar bills and more money. But also for the product. I think it will really, really help it. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to that channel down there. If you didn't, then Dusty Rhodes, he'll come after you. Dusty. The man, the myth. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you very much. He'll come after you. You don't want that. You really don't. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic. You have been great, and I'll see you next time. Skadoosh.